Solvers, today is our last day to really go over and review Unit 4, adding and subtracting with various methods. And so you're going to be doing a couple of problems with me on page 255 and 256, and then you're going to complete the rest of them in your workbook. The ones that I do not do with you, you're going to complete the rest on your own. And then tomorrow we are going to have a quiz in Think Central. So no Think Central today, but yes, Think Central quiz tomorrow. Okay, so go grab your workbook if you haven't already. Put me on pause if you need to. Okay, again, it's page 255. We will work on this together. So I'm going to start with the first three because there is some vocabulary over here. Estimate, subtract, hundreds, and thousands. So number one says, when you blank 100 from 400, the difference is 300. So I'm going to look at, 100 from 400. So I must be doing something so that to make a smaller number here. So it's not going to be estimate. It's not going to be hundreds or thousands. It's going to be subtract. So we're going to write subtract into that spot. You're going to double check that you spelled it correctly. S-U-B-T-R-A-C-T. Should be spelled correctly since it's written right there. Number two, the number 732 is equal to 6 blank, 13 tens, and 2 ones. So if it says 6 something instead of 7 something, and then it says 13 tens instead of just 3, I'm going to write that number down. 732. And in this case, it says 2 ones, 13 tens, and 6. So we must have done that before they did some sort of subtracting. So if we look at that, then we look at what the 6 is, the 600s. Some ungrouping going on there. And the last one says to find an answer that is close to the exact answer, you can, so we've already used subtract, we've already used hundreds, so it's between estimate and thousands. Well, when we get something close to the exact answer, we estimate. There we go. Okay, so then you have a problem number 4. You're going to do this one on your own. And it says make a place value drawing to show how you add room for place value drawing here and some adding there. You are going to take pictures of page 255 and 256 and download them, upload them into the assignment to get credit for today's work. Number 5 says explain how to estimate the sum of 654 and 142 by rounding to the nearest hundred. So I'm going to try that over here. So 654, so if I'm rounding to the nearest hundred, I'm going to underline there, circle here, 5 and above, give it a shove. So 700, that goes up then, so 700, and 142. So circling, underlining here, circling here. So the 4 below, lay it low. So 100. I'm going to put it there. All right. And then it said estimate the sum. So sum means adding. So there you go. All right. So then it says explain how to estimate by. Okay. So we would say to estimate to the nearest hundred. For 654, look at the tens place. That's what we did, right? We looked at the 5 first. We looked at there first. Since it is a 5, give it a shove to round to 700. for 142, look at the 4 in the tens place and lay it low to 100. Okay. Now, you don't have to write those exact words there, but you should definitely say something about looking at the tens place and what the eventual rounding it is and how you decided. If it's 5 and above, give it a shove. If it's 4 and below, lay it low. All right, so then you're going to do this one by yourself. Explain where and how to ungroup to do the subtraction. So I would go through the problem and do the subtracting, and then on these two lines you need to explain what value and what how you're ungrouping to do that subtraction using the place values. Then you're going to flip the page to page 256, and you have a bunch of, it says add or subtract. So you're going to need to look very carefully at the signs, make sure that you know which one you're doing, if you're adding or if you're subtracting. Just because a number is higher on the top does not necessarily mean you're subtracting. Like that's an example right there. You're still adding on that one even though a higher number is on the top. Now there are these three numbers that are going from left to right. Just because they're going from left to right doesn't mean that I want you to keep them that way. These three need to be rewritten, whether that's done on another piece of paper or you use the side here so that I can see it. Either way, when I'm looking for your assignment, I'm going to look for those three problems. So we're going to do 531 minus 32. Now you'll notice that I made sure that my 1s and my 10s line up, because if I put 32 over here, that'll look like 100, and that will gravely make my answer incorrect. So 1 minus 2, now I can't do that because 2 is greater than the 1, so I'm going to need to go over here, make that to 2 10s, and take that 10 and make it 10 1s. 11 minus 2 equals 9. Then 2 minus 3, cannot do that either, so I need to change one of those hundreds into 10 10s. I already had 2 10s, so I have 12 10s minus 3 equals 9, and then I have 4 and nothing. So there you go. Now I'm going to see if that's reasonable. About 500 minus about nothing, about 0, because 32 would be rounded down to 0, is, so 500 minus nothing is about 500, and 499 is about 500. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and put my answer in. But I need to see the work for 16 and 17 written right here. Now, this next one is problem solving. And this first problem is pretty easy, so we're going to talk about it, but I'm going to let you do the answer, but I'm going to help you with the next one. Gordon baked 346 blueberry muffins and 287 bran muffins. How many muffins did he bake in all? So in all means that we're going to put it together, so it's going to be an addition problem. 346 plus 287. Now I'm going to let you do that part because you are quite capable of that. So I'm going to circle where that answer should go because that's going to affect my next problem here. So I would still write 346 plus 287 equals, and then that answer that's going there. But then it says write a subtraction word problem related to the addition problem in problem 18. Then find the answer without doing any calculations. So in this case, so if you remember at Math Mountain, that we know that the two numbers you're adding together, the two add-ins go here, and then when you put them together you get a big total, right? So that's what this is right here. This is the total. So if we're doing a word problem that's related to this one, we're going to use some of this information and we're going to turn it around so that we are trying to find one of these numbers because it's subtraction. So we're going to say Gordon had, and this is where that total number goes, right? This is where that T goes, but you're going to put the actual number there, the one that you came up with. Had blank muffins. So he had blueberry and bran. So I was going to say he had 346 bran muffins The rest were blueberry. How many muffins were blueberry? So I should not have to go ahead and do that subtraction. I should know that if I have this plus this equals this, that this minus this should equal this. So your answer, which you're going to put someplace nice and neatly, is going to go here, but you shouldn't have to figure it out again. But you do need to put that correct total in that spot for that word problem. Oh, you guys can't see it quite. All right, then there's one last problem I need you to do. It says Veronica has 425 baseball cards. She gave 120 of them to her brother. Veronica's cousin gave her 285 baseball cards. Veronica says now she has 388 baseball cards. Is her answer reasonable? Explain. Then find the actual answer to see if you are correct. So you're going to do definitely some estimating here. Do some rounding with those numbers. Think about whether you're adding or subtracting, and then use this space to come up with your answer. And then I want, it says, is the answer reasonable? I want a yes or a no, and I want you to explain why it is not, and what is the correct answer. Okay, so you are going to, I've done quite a few of these problems for you, so I expect those finished, and the ones that are not done, so number 4, number 6, these ones on the top here, the answer to this one and this one have already been started for you, and number 20. And I want you to go ahead and take a picture of that for me on with your Chromebook and upload it with your assignments. I'm going to look for those answers for your grade. There is no Think Central for today. Tomorrow you will have a quiz, so this is your review for the quiz tomorrow.